There is so much happening at Tottenham Hotspur right now regarding transfers and transfer rumours that I'm struggling to keep on top of it all and understand what's going on. We've got the likes of Van Hecke links, Senesi links, Robertson's just been announced by the club, which is huge. Talks of Savinho as well, a forward-thinking midfielder, which we're crying out for, and a new striker we're looking at as well. Now, this really does feel like we could be seeing a new page of the Tottenham Hotspur book, something big. This is a crazy start to a window already. We're showing some major intent, which I think we've needed to, especially coming off of a 17th place finish. I think that bulking the squad and actually spending some real money is really important right now, as well as seeing off a lot of the dead wood. Now, I think what better way to get into this is just by jumping in straight away with Andy Robertson, considering that's the one that's just been announced already. Now, if we look here, as I said, it's been announced by Tottenham. I like this little thing that they've done here, showing that where he played before. Obviously, the majority of his career was spent at Liverpool. He was more of a high flying wing back. Now, Liverpool under Klopp were very press heavy, very forward thinking team. Robertson suited that really well. He was really quick, great delivery on him. And he was always he was a very final third attacking fullback. Now, obviously, he's getting on a bit now. He's kind of petered out at Liverpool. He's not really the same player anymore. He's not as athletic. He's not as quick. He's not as powerful when he runs. However, I think this experience is needed in the squad. I think fullbacks are kind of. We've always had all right fullbacks. Maybe Robertson can kind of help Udogie flourish. Maybe he can teach him how to cross a ball and get the ball off the ground. That would be a great start for him. But no, I don't see Robertson being our starting left back while he's here. Obviously, it's one game a week to Zerbi, obviously, because we are not in any European competitions due to finishing 17th, which is abysmal. But that can play in our favour. Now, obviously, older players, they can't really play as many games, play as many minutes, but it should mean that we get to see a good amount of Robertson in comparison to the rest of the team. I think, as I said, Udogie almost being an understudy to him is going to be really important. Now, I don't know how we're going to implement Robertson this season or next season because it's quite a difficult one. Now, obviously, as I just mentioned, he used to be a very attacking flying wing back, but he's not got the legs for that anymore. Now, I do expect to see him creeping up in those attacking positions still, because I think that's where he excels at. I've never really known Robertson to be a lock defender like a Jed Spence. Now, I do think that he will show some quality. He'll probably become our best crosser of the ball. I know Pedro Porro's been that for so long, but he last season, the season before, we didn't really see much of that from Porro. I do think it adds a really good dynamic though, because we still do overload the ball on the right hand side. Under Frank, we did it. We still tried to do it under Tudor. Don't really do it so much under Zerbi. That was very free flowing, but it does add a dynamic where when Robertson's playing, if he's high up, he can deliver the ball, but we can also shift it out to Porro, who can deliver the ball. I don't know who would suit Robertson's playstyle on the left-hand side with him. Now, Tell is a weird one because whenever you give him the ball out left, he doesn't really like playing a 1-2. When you give him the ball, it looks like the other ball's on after the fullback's underlapped or overlapped, but he never plays it. Now, obviously, Odebear, he's out till, well, January, really, isn't he? Because he did his ACL. He is good playing 1-2s. He's quick. I remember once in the Champions League with Xavi, that quick little round the corner they did, and then Kola Moine, he didn't quite finish the chance off. Now, I don't think that matters so much. I don't think I think Robertson will be able to get the best out of whoever he's playing with because he's such an experienced player. As I said, I don't think he's going to be playing a large amount of football. I do think that since he is old, that we won't just see him as much. But I don't mind that. I think it's a good addition to the squad. Now, I might as well break into the next one that we've already got a Here We Go on, and that's Senesi. Now, I like the Senesi signing. I do. I think a lot of people say he was Bournemouth's best player. Now, I know he won their player of the season, and I know he's very good. But I think James Hill, whenever I watch them, I think James Hill is actually the better defender. Now, that doesn't take away from Senesi's qualities. He's great on the ball. We can see what De Zerbi's trying to implement here by the targets, because Van Hecke's similar, but Senesi's great on the ball. I think he's a good ideal replacement for Romero, but he's not as good at defending as Romero, which really shows, I think that shows intent from De Zerbi. It shows that we are looking to just be on the ball and move forward as quick as we can, get the ball forward, get attacking. And as a Tottenham fan, the Tottenham way under Ange and everything like that, I think that's brilliant to see. I do think our starting centre-backs will be Mickey van der Ven and Senesi, just because Senesi is older than Van Hecke, if we do bring Van Hecke in, obviously. Obviously, we haven't even signed Senesi yet. I'm just going off what I'm hearing. But I think that brings some really good centre-back depth, because you've got Mickey van der Ven, Senesi, Van Hecke, Danso, Vuskovic, and Byfield. 6 right there. That's if we get rid of Romero, which I think is pretty much guaranteed, and also if we get rid of Dragoshin, which if we don't get rid of Dragoshin, something's going wrong. But that is some brilliant depth. I think it does allow us to loan Vuskovic out again if he wants to. I'd be against it just because I do want to see him play, but then if you look at all those centre-backs, if we do bring them all in, when's he going to fit in? So I think a loan would probably be the best option for Vuskovic there. I think having Danso there, I mean, I really hope we're able to keep Danso, because I wouldn't be surprised if he wants to go be a starter somewhere. I think he is good enough to be a starter, not for us. I do really rate Danso, but I don't think he's quite there for us now. I think he's brilliant depth, though, and I do really love Danso, so obviously, I really hope we can hold on to him, and that does really leave us with some great depth there for centre-back, especially considering we will only be playing one game a week, no Europe. I think that is really, really important to have. It's something we've lacked in recent years, just having depth in all these different positions. I mean, the fact that when Romero's got injured and Van der Ven's been injured, Dragoshin's had to come in. We were playing Archie Gray at centre-back for so long under Ange. I think this really shows that we're strengthening the squad, not just trying to buy the best players. Now, that does bring me on to the next link, Van Hecke. I'll talk about him briefly. Obviously, because we haven't actually signed him yet. We're looking at chucking a fair amount of money at Brighton for him. Now, I've seen a lot of people saying, why on earth would Van Hecke go to Tottenham? Food chain. We're a big club. They're going to have to deal with that. We are just bigger than Brighton. If we come knocking, why would he not want to come join us? We'll be able to pay him better wages. We're more likely to get in the Champions League sooner than Brighton. He'll be playing alongside his countryman, Mickey van der Ven, obviously both Dutch. And I think we're just a more exciting project than Brighton. Not to dog on Brighton. I like Brighton as a football club most of the time. But I think, yeah, if we're throwing money at him and we're saying, yeah, come join this project, we've just got De Zerbi, and obviously he's played under De Zerbi before. De Zerbi was one that brought him through at Brighton. And he's the profile that De Zerbi wants. I think he would be aware of that. So I think this is a great signing if we do manage to get him over the line. The next one, which is quite interesting, is Savinho. Now, Savinho, obviously, we didn't get him over the line. I think it was January or last summer. I think we tried twice. Now, he's obviously a very De Zerbi winger. He likes to take on his man. He is good at creating chances. He hasn't scored, I think, what is it, like 3 goals for City in the past, however many appearances. He's not great at finishing. Maybe it's just finding the positions. Now, that being said, I think he still would be an amazing signing for Tottenham. Now, we have some great wingers already in Kudus, Odobert. I think those two are brilliant alone. Matisse Tel can play off the wing. He's good. I think the other two I mentioned were better. Now, bringing Savinho in, it changes the dynamic even more. I think if we had him, the starting lineup up front would be him, a striker, and Kudus. I don't think Odobert's better than those two, although I do really love Odobert. But that does leave good depth as well, because Odobert can play left or right. So if one of them got injured or one of them needs a rest, Odobert can come in. That's brilliant. Obviously, Mikey Moore, coming back from Rangers, can play left or right or 10. So that gives quite a lot of depth there as well. And then obviously you've also got Xavi Simons. Now I know Odobert and Simons are out for a while, but Simmons can also play left wing. So we've got good depth all around those areas, which is really good, especially with our injury record and our medical team. And then if you bring in a big striker alongside that, now the reports I'm seeing are Moises Keane. I'm very conflicted. I'm not over the moon. I don't think that's the kind of striker we need, especially if we're going to spend big money on him. Or Gonzalo Ramos. Again, I don't really know a lot about Gonzalo Ramos. I just don't think if we're trying to build something, I don't know if that's the striker we should go for. I mean, I know there's not many strikers out there on the market at the moment, but I'd rather we just go and spend big and try and attract a big striker. Obviously, I understand that's not always plausible. So if it does end up being Gonzalo Ramos, I mean, at least it's a striker that's not Richarlison or Kolo Muani. Now, the six, I think it's a six that we're looking at almost. It's just a forward-thinking midfielder, deep-line playmaker. Now, this is something we've been screaming out for such a long time. There's a Ben Bowman clip that sticks in my head where he shows the pass map of Bentancur after a game, and it's just sideways, 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 sideways. Now, I think, obviously, we've been missing that flair, almost like a Maddison, to come and drop deep and then progress the ball. But we shouldn't have to rely on the Maddison to get the ball forward. I think having that player that can play a ball in behind to these wingers, if we're playing electric football, a ball going in behind, or even just finding Solanke to hold the ball up, I think a midfielder is really critical. I see a lot of people talking about Locatelli. I don't think he's as good as everyone makes him out to be. I know he's a good footballer, but I know people seem to say like, "Oh, he's the one that would solve all our problems." I don't think that's true. I think he'd be good, probably one of our better midfielders, but I don't think he's top quality. I saw a report come out the other day of Bruno Guimaraes. Apparently, De Zerbi wants him. That's never happening in a million years, although that would be an absolute dream. I mean, imagine Bruno Guimaraes at the Lane. Just perfect profile, amazing footballer. He obviously loves Newcastle, so I don't really actually see him leaving there, even if a massive, massive club comes knocking. But, you know, I think a midfielder, as I said, the ones that we've gone over already, I think they're huge. Then the only other area that I think we should focus on would be a goalkeeper. Now, I said in one of my last videos, I think Kinski has actually played himself into deserving the number one spot next season. Only because the redemption he's had, his trajectory is up right now. He had the lowest of lows against Atletico Madrid. We thought that was his Tottenham career done. A lot of people did, myself included. I was sad about it because I love Kinski, but I just assumed that was that done. And then next thing you know, Vicario's having a surgery, and then Kinski's having to come in. He performs really, really well. He does brilliantly after the international break. And then Vicario comes back from injury, and De Zerbi puts his bollocks on the table and says, you know what? No, you're not coming back, Vicario. We're playing Kinski. And, I mean, look at that. We stayed up. He made an incredible save against Leeds, incredible save against Wolves. He played well against Everton. He made that save from George when he cut in, and then it was poor positioning, but the save happened. That's all that matters. I think if we could bring in someone to compete with Kinski, like when we brought Kinski in to compete with Vicario, I think it should be we bring someone in to compete with Kinski now. Obviously, we've still got Brandon Austin at the club. He got man of the match against Newcastle last season, which I think is more of a pity vote than anything. But he's not a bad keeper to rely on. But obviously, we can't just have two goalkeepers at the club. And if you're going to bring in a keeper, it might as well be someone that can compete with the number one spot. That being said, I don't know who's on the market at the moment. Obviously, we have scouts for that. I'm trying to think of any keeper anywhere, and it's actually quite a difficult one. Nowadays, especially under Zerbi, I can see it being a thing where the keeper needs to be good with his feet, which Kinski is, Atletico aside, obviously. So I think bringing a keeper that's good with his feet is a main thing, because we need to instill confidence there. And then it also means that we've got Mickey who can drive forward from the ball from out the back, a keeper, hopefully, that could play the ball out like Kinski can. Van Hecker, who's great on the ball. Senesi, who's good on the ball. I just want to say about Van Hecker, he's good on the ball unless he's playing Leeds at home on one of the last games of the season. Leeds away, actually, it was, wasn't it? Because those mistakes he made were not good. Hopefully it brings his price down so we can get him a bit cheaper. But yeah, I think those are the important things. Now, obviously with Robertson coming in already as well, it shows that there's actually intent. That's a big thing we've been missing. I remember, obviously, the last big signing we made was Xavi Simons. Now, we only made that signing because we got dogged on by Arsenal when they stole Eze from us. Now, I hope this isn't reactionary anymore. I feel like we've always been quite a reactionary club. We've never been big where we've just gone, you know what, we're going to sign them right now, done. It almost looked like that was going to happen when we signed Mohamed Kudus and then went for Morgan Gibbs White straight after. And obviously that whole saga was just painful. We never got him in the end. That's what I mean about last season, though. It was reactionary because we didn't get Morgan Gibbs White. Then the reaction was to go and get Eze, and we didn't get Eze. And then the reaction was to go and get Xavi Simons, which we almost lost out on. I'm glad he bought into our project, not Chelsea's. But that just goes to show that we can't just be reactionary anymore, especially with how the Xavi Simons signing has worked out so far. It shows that we need to understand what profiles De Zerbi wants, which I think we're doing, and immediately bring them in. Also, I see a lot of people saying that the Robertson signing, it's crazy that Roberto De Zerbi and Thomas Frank both wanted to sign Robertson. Obviously, the club are going to say, look, this is a signing that's achievable. He already said he doesn't mind coming here. What do you think? I don't think they're just going to sign him off and ignore De Zerbi. I think De Zerbi would have to give the green light, say, yeah, I want him, actually, bring him in, which is important because I don't want a player coming in that the manager doesn't even want. I hope that De Zerbi does get the final say on quite a lot on all our signings, not even quite a lot, on all of them, because he's a man that, I mean, his passion is football. You can tell the way he talks about it, the way he goes about literally training. I mean, there was that report, Sizzy came out and said De Zerbi took his trousers off in a training session. I mean, yeah, that's an odd one. Yeah, Thomas Frank would definitely be getting charges against him if that was him. I think it's just the fact that the players actually buy into De Zerbi's project that helps him a lot. Now, also, I think the fact that De Zerbi has profiles that he likes, and the club is actually listening to him, shows as well, because I mean, we never really had that under Ange. Thomas Frank, I mean, I think Thomas Frank was just told, like, here you go, you can have one of these players if you want. And he was like, yeah, go on then. I don't even think Thomas Frank understands football. I don't know what he was thinking. So I really hope the club are listening. Again, even if the Savinho deals fall through, even if we could, I mean, a dream would be to go and get like Leao from AC Milan. I know there's talks of him leaving. I mean, just chuck whatever money you want at Leao and go and get him if we're big like that. I would love to see that. Or a Vlahovic. I mean, I saw he was on like 450k a week at Juventus, and obviously he wants to leave. I don't know where he's going to pay that wages. So if he does need a wage cut, and he's accepting that, and maybe he thinks, you know what, I'll go smash it out in the Premier League. De Zerbi's, Tottenham's tricky Lily Whites, you know, all of us, we'd love you here. So I think that would be a brilliant signing for us. Again, we just need to show some intent. We are already. We just need to keep that going. I think it's good that we're getting this sorted before the World Cup as well. I think that's really important, actually, because people, again, I feel like we'd be the kind of club that would be reactionary after this World Cup because we need to push on. We'd look at those players and be like a James Rodriguez. You don't want to just sign someone because they played well in the World Cup, and I could see us doing that. The club doing that, not De Zerbi. I think De Zerbi's smarter than that. But yeah, I think I've covered all the major transfer links there. That was a fun video. I enjoyed that. If you guys enjoyed, let me know. If you're still watching, again, I don't believe that anyone is actually watching to the end of these videos, to be honest, because obviously I'm just starting out. But, you know, if you are, let me know. I do want to do more stuff like this. And if you're still here, please go down, leave a comment, leave a like, leave a subscription. It would mean the world to me. As I said, I'm just starting. I'm trying to get out there. This is what I want to do. I just want to talk football. If you guys just want to have me on in the background, that's still my pleasure, honestly. Even if you're not listening to me, I'd still just love that. As I said, yeah, just feel free to leave some support. And I love you guys. Thank you.